also growing marijuana and exporting marijuana out of that same land.
I have no knowledge of that.
We have knowledge of that.
Hold on. Hold on.
You know, Jim Jones had a drug running up enterprise happening back then, you know.
No, BSL, you got it.
I don't deal with hyperbole and propaganda. I deal with
Okay,
facts.
well, I was in the media back then and we knew what was happening back then.
Okay.
Come on.
Allow me, Mr. Green, to speak.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
I
okay.
know it was,
Praise God, praise God, praise God.
he was exporting ground provision.
But nobody supervised what he was doing though, but thoroughly in the sense that, you know, he was given free reign. That is why.
That's right. The people used to talk about cultivating marijuana at Jonestown and exporting it. In fact, when the troops
How you know that?
I'm hearing that for the first time.
Now, how you know about that?
And I don't get involved.
The word on the street. There is more spoken on the street and in the marketplace than you would imagine up in the boardrooms.
I'm concerned with the truth.
Right, okay. Do you know back then too a lot of GDF soldiers got rich from the monies they stole out of Jonestown?
I don't know
about that. A lot of GDF officers got rich off of that money. You don't know about that?
I don't know that they got
Well, all
rich.
right, anyway, let's not deal with the past. Let's deal with the future.
I gave an example of a man from Port Kaitun
Now you go on the program, please.
who moved into the community after the tragedy and picked up US dollars, tried to go across the border to Venezuela, and he was killed. I know that. But to make a bland statement that GDF officers got rich, I don't think there's any evidence to
They know
support that.
themselves. The ones who got rich know themselves, and they're still around, some of them.
If you pick up a few thousand US dollars, that don't make you rich.
No, a few million US dollars.
I don't.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
You see, let me say something. We've got to be responsible.
Yeah, I hear
The
you.
people at Jonestown, or retired people, the money they got derived from their pension and their benefits in the United States. It couldn't be millions. It was a few $100s which they saved. I spoke with some of the relatives who I interviewed. And they expected that they would have $100 or $40 here. They weren't rich people who moved in. They were people who were looking for spiritual salvation. Jones came along and was a panacea. He offered them hope.
So he said the millions didn't come from that, but it come from the side trade that you were doing.
I have no evidence of that. And I was involved. I'm here for the first
Okay, I got to say, make it.
I need to deal with the future.
What do you future?
The future
What do you
is
feel like
that unless our operatives in government deal with forward planning, we are doomed. They had enough time to come up with an alternative to what is happening at Gaisuko. Here why. My two friends, Eric Phillips and Stanley Ming, at first come up with, visit something 21? Vision 21 or something? Guyana 21 plan. It was disregarded. They then came up with 2030 Guyana Vision Guyana, where it is set out a lot of futuristic approaches to deal with development in Guyana. And that too has been relegated to the dustbin of history. Here why. Gaisuko, it was recommended that you're supposed to grow guano. I think it's a crop called guano or something. But there's a whole slew of crops that was recommended to be grown at Gaisuko. We have been recommended that hemp be introduced, but they got to decriminalize marijuana or legalize marijuana first. The point is, unless we are willing to bite the bullet and become futuristic in our outlook and not be traditional, we will keep going wrong in circles. Guyana is at the cusp where, because of agricultural, technological development, we can apply a certain standard of development to agriculture right now and leapfrog us into the future. We refuse to do this. How can we now want to just give 2,000 sugar workers we knock off a little bit of money and a little bit of land and them go along and make you all heights? They ain't gonna make heights. After 1 year, they'll be broke because they will not have the means of production for the land they've been given. They won't have access to financing, and we'll be back in the same hole. The point I'm trying to make is this. We got to look and see what is happening in the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is jumping on the bandwagon that we got to decriminalize marijuana because you're freeing up a product called hemp. Look on Standard News front page. They got a whole set of machinery lined up here. The same machinery can be applied to the production of hemp. Not marijuana, hemp. Because hemp is a product, an industrial plant that can create so many different products. And I'm wondering why it is that we're being so determined not to go with the program. I can't understand why. There can be checks and balances put in place because Jamaica's done it and other countries are doing it. what is wrong with Guyana and our old-time approach to development.
Let me take some calls, Sandy here. Call you in. Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, coming back to the 20 million US dollar,
Yes.
right? Was the president aware of that money? If not,
I don't know about that.
supposed to be a
Okay.
investigation.
Okay. I will ask me agree if you know about that.
Coming to be,
But it
right?
said
The president should have an investigation concerning the matter.
Yes.
COI.
Because the finance minister
Yes.
a month ago, when asked about the money, said he don't know and you have to check. Now today he say nobody asked him back
A precise
if he
question.
found it or not, and he's not obligated to tell the nation that.
Wow.
So you can read between the lines of going on.
Yeah, but,
Thank you very much.
but there was a letter.
Mr. Clyde Thomas,
Yes.
when last have you all heard from him?
Yes.
Mr. Clyde Thomas stated that over $300 and something billion was being squandered by the PPP, right?
Yeah,
During
yes.
the time every year.
Yes.
300 billion, that is more than the budget.
More
I
than-
want
that's
people to
right.
get an understanding of what's going on.
Yes.
Right? This is 2.5 years this government in power. They're supposed to got 3 and 3/6, about nearly $800 billion, which they said was being squandered and thieving and all of that.
Yes.
This money should be in the country so that we should have a better budget. Right? So these are things that we got to understand. Mr. Clyde Thomas made a blanket statement which he had no clue what was really going on. Because if he is losing 300 billion, this country would be far better in 2.5 years.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Call you in here. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Sharma.
Yes.
I would agree with Rastaman.
Yes.
9.9%. And I would also agree with Mr.
You gotta speak a lot. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I was saying I'm agreeing
Yes.
with...
Yes. Now you're talking right.
Hello?
Yes.
Speak up.
Yes. I agree with the Rastaman
Yes.
with the 9.9%.
Yes.
Because the 1% where I not agree with him on is that he's saying the government is doing everything that the previous government was doing. I don't agree with that statement because you don't seem
You're doing worse?
shoot down in the streets and no investigation is being done. And
Okay.
businessmen is paying off
Okay.
police to get rid of cases and
Yes,
stuff
yes,
like that.
yes.
The government is doing stuff.
Yes.
However, I would agree with him. Every other thing he said, Mr. Armstrong Green is saying that certain thing takes time for the government to do. Yes, we all agree with that. But the budget does not reflect anything for the small man.
Yes.
Even more so, the
Yes.
public servant. There is nothing
Yes.
there for public servant. Nothing at all.
Okay.
The previous government used to give public servant bonus at the end of the year.
Yes. Yes.
And this is what I have to say. Public servants do not recognize
Yes.
power that they have. Because, for example, if
Yes.
all the public servants decide to strike,
Yes.
this country is done.
Okay.
And the government don't seem to understand that. Maybe there's too much of politics within the public service system. So the government needs to put something in place for the small man, like Rasma is saying, and that's why I said I agree with him, because things is taking too long to trickle
Okay,
down
okay.
to the small man.
All right.
So if for a small person to get a loan,
Yeah.
they're dismantling person's
Okay.
house in Sophia and giving them a month notice to relocate or get somewhere. Now,
Yeah.
those people are poor people.
Yes,
Where are
that's
they-
true. That's true.
Where are they going to get
Yeah.
money from within a month to rebuild a home or
Okay.
build a house? Most of those people are single parents.
Okay.
What are they going to do?
Well said.
And they're
Yeah.
putting people out of
Okay.
their home there. I understand that they're squatting and
Yeah.
it's illegal and stuff like that.
Yes.
But you have to put something in place for
Okay.
those people so that when you tell them...
What do you
have
recommend?
to-
What do you should recommend that should done?
Yeah.
What do you recommend should be done?
Say again?
What's the solution?
Yeah, solution to the problem.
Okay.
What is the solution?
But, well, then they have to allow banks to give those persons
Okay.
a small loan
Okay.
so that they can go, and the government said they're giving them land
Okay.
so that they can go and build a house.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
most
Caller,
of those,
thank you very much. Thank you. Call you in. Hello. Hello.
We're sorry, this number is temporarily disconnected.
Hello. Let me see. Continue what you do. Go ahead,
Sorry, this number is temporarily disconnected.
Mike.
Yeah, Leon.
Leon.
I want to say something to
Yes.
my brother Leon.
Yes.
No,
He
because-
was present, we were present
Uh-huh.
at a consultation at St. Stanislaus College on this question of marijuana.
Right.
So it's not fair to say the government is doing nothing.
No, that
The
was CARICOM
consulta-
called that,
there's a
not the government of
consultation,
Guyana.
you
There
were
no
present,
government-
you
There were no
spoke
government people
eloquently.
there either.
What?
There were no government ministers there.
How you know?
I was there.
That's not relevant.
Why not?
What is important is that there was a consultation for the public. And you were present.
Called by whom?
We both spoke.
No, that consultation was called by whom?
CARICOM.
Right.
We part of CARICOM.
But no government representative was there to hear what was being said and to take it back to government, to cabinet, so they can make a decision on it.
A full report has been given to the government through CARICOM. We're part of CARICOM. We're not a
Accept.
lawless set of people. If you're part of CARICOM and you agree in principle to take a decision that will involve the entire Caribbean,
All right.
we're not isolating ourselves. And that was intended to examine it. Because like liquor, like tobacco, everything has two sides.
But Jamaica has gone ahead.
I was overseas recently, and a group of young people approached me on this question of marijuana.
Nice.
Says good for a whole slew of things.
Right.
When we investigated it, they talked about drops. It didn't work for your eyes, for example. It turns out that all the noise they were making, you have to smoke marijuana, reduces the ocular pressure, and there are already drops in the system, which gives you a 24-hour safety period. Marijuana only lasts, if you smoke it,
Have you ever smoked
for
it?
3-4 hours.
Have you ever smoked it?
No.
So how you know?
I'm dealing empirical evidence by people who have smoked it.
Let me tell you the empirical evidence. I was born marijuana. I've been born in marijuana since 1977. And here I am, 63 years old, 12 children, very healthy. I can talk about marijuana.
I've never used, I'm 83 years old,
Oh.
11 children, very
Yeah,
healthy.
what is it you use?
So
What's
what's the point you're making?
What the point
the point I'm
What's the
making-
point you're making?
the point
I've
I'm
never
making-
used it. I'm 83.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
kicking like a
But the-
Kentucky
yeah,
jackass.
But the thinking that I've got is more conscious. I am more progressive. I'm a Rastafari, and I see the future differently to how you've seen it. You're still part of that old school traditional way of seeing the future, and it's hard for y'all to relate with what the youths are doing right now. In fact, there are more barriers being put up against the youth than working with the youth to create a future
Okay.
for them. And that's the difference between my smoking marijuana and you are not smoking
Okay.
marijuana. I have more empathy with the youth and a futuristic outlook in terms of developing Guyana. That's the
Carl,
difference.
you're on the air. Hello?
Hi.
Yes. Yes, good afternoon.
I am beginning to wonder.
Speak up.
I'm beginning to wonder if Mr. Green's presence there is for there to be some sort of confrontation. I'm of the impression that you are not facilitating the public, but you're there to attack each other.
No, that's not so. That's not so.
Brother Ham is my brethren.
Yeah,
The essence of a democracy.
No, but remember, the public is receiving it the way they see it.
In discussions.
They sees it. All right. Now, I would just like to say season's
Make your point.
I'd just like to say season's
Yes,
greetings to you all
yes.
and the general public.
Oh, yes.
And to just remind the members of the public
Yes.
to try not to spend money they don't have, to buy things they do not need
Okay.
in order
Okay.
to show off on the people
Okay.
that they think do not like them or that they don't like.
Okay.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Now,
much.
concerning that cannabis.
It's a very good statement.
Call you on the air. Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Congratulations to everybody.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to deal with these people that live in the dump.
Yes.
I think that Mr. Green should be a leading force in trying to bring back the cooperative back to these people.
Yeah.
These people badly need it. You
Yes.
just cannot take them and throw them off the dump like break them.
Okay.
What you got to do, you got to put them to save some money, just as how the cooperative system was run.
Yes.
Let them save some money,
Yes.
give them a piece of land, and let it work and build their house and they put a carpet or whatever,
Yes.
just as how we built Roxton Morning Garden
Okay.
and so many other self-built projects in this country.
How many lines was you give to them?
Huh?
How many lines was you give to them?
Yeah, how many?
Land.
How much land?
How much land? Yes.
You get an acre of land.
Acre, okay.
Yes,
That's reasonable,
land to live
That's
on.
reasonable.
All right.
That's
No.
reasonable. Yes.
No. Next thing.
Yes.
I want to talk about Mr.
Yeah.
Seelal.
Yes.
We're having this Mr. Seelal as crime chief in this country. He had surrounded himself with all of his fellow countrymen from the village where he came from. And they were shocking people. And let me make it straight. They were shocking black people. And nobody yet has been charged for a crime against humanity for the shocking that they carried against black people.
Okay.
Let us go back to Emmanuel Fabian. When Emmanuel Fabian was shocked in this country, Mr. Green is aware. Who he was shocked by? He was shocked by the PPP. And then we had another gang of black people being shocked again by the PPP.
What evidence you've got for on this?
We have not yet charged none of these people for a crime against humanity in this country.
Okay.
These people need to be tried.
Okay.
This is a democracy. If we talk about
Okay.
a democracy,
Okay.
this is a democracy.
Yeah.
In this process of hemp,
Yes.
I do strongly think that this government is waiting on the American government, somebody to tell him where you can go in the plant.
Okay.
No, why we got
Are
to
we
wait in there?
sovereign? We are sovereign.
Thank you very much.
This would look like,
Yes.
you understand?
Yeah.
What we need, we need more youth
Oh,
development.
okay,
I agree
okay,
that you have to have experience. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. You have to have experience to guide
Yes.
the youth.
Yes.
We have Mr. Green, he's right here. You can see what
Yes.
experience does.
Yes.
Anyhow, we need to go forward a little more. I'm stressing this particular point with these people in these houses. Bring back the cooperative housing system to the,
Okay, then.
to
ask
the small
Mr.
man.
Green to do that.
Act like Linden, the small man.
Okay then.
And let me say happy
Yeah,
6 years
yeah.
to the PPP.
Yeah.
To the PNC. Thank you very much, Mr. PNC.
Edela,
Yeah.
now cannabis oil.
Yeah.
Somebody called me about.
You called in here. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I'm Mr. Green.
Yes.
Now, look at the sugar cane. You see any white man cutting sugar cane? Why should you follow people? I keep telling black people, stop cutting sugar cane. When you cutting, you look around. I tell them simple, look around. You see any white man cutting sugar cane? Mr. Green, they got intelligence. The wisest people are a few. Else all the people in Guyana would have happy. And all the people in
Yes.
other countries would have happy because
Okay.
the people running the country
Yes.
intelligent enough.
Okay.
Degree is nonsense in 2017. You got to know to run a country. Were you graduating, doctor?
What-
Are you graduating in this? You'll do that. If you are graduating accountant, be accountant.
Yes.
What about organizing?
Huh?
What about organizing sugar workers in cooperatives, as suggested by the previous caller?
That is intelligence. It is something that worked.
Yes.
He bought all the villages that way. I don't understand. Wisdom is found in simplest places. We're full of donkeys all over the world. I stopped work in 1979.
Okay.
Not nothing to do with Bonham. But because I get to know, there's only one man got me alive.
Yes.
It ain't the
Who you had
president,
like?
it ain't the parliament, it ain't none of them. One man make papa, one man make mango. Show me what the white man make. That got me alive.
Okay. Thank you very
There are
much.
people living on the earth
Okay.
since millions of years. You're talking sheer stupidness
Okay.
in 1970. They got a man for north, but make you be a slave behind you for nothing.
Thank you very much.
Money.
Thank
How
you.
many cow that got money?
Okay. Thank you
Mr.
very
Green,
much. Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
All right. Yes, I think that previous
Yes,
caller
yes.
made a good point with cooperatives.
Yeah,
We should have
yes,
looked at
yes,
that
yes.
angle to see what we
Yes,
can do,
yes.
get the workers together as a cooperative.
Yes.
But we tried to, one time we were trying to promote
Yes.
cooperatives in Guyana, and I think we still have a cooperative sector. You know, we should have done something. Now, concerning the ganja story, somebody who had cancer
Yes.
in Holland,
Yes.
right? They
Got
said
cured of cancer?
They said they had cancer of the throat. They
Yeah.
said the cannabis oil
Yeah.
they used was among the several factors they used that helped them to be cured of this cancer. Besides the usual thing they tell you to change your diet, yoga, prayers, what have you. They use cannabis oil. So there might be something to this, you know. It may work for one, it might not work in another situation.
Mr. Green,
They
if you
said it helped
have
them.
done that?
Look,
A very experienced man.
at a personal level,
Yes.
and level my wife, who is an experienced physician,
Okay.
we've examined this question of cannabis and marijuana very intently. I have a son who's in a state where the thing has been legalized. I'm in regular contact with him. There's an enormous amount of research. I was in Texas, and some of the technicians don't even want to hear the name.
Okay.
So the different points of view.
Okay.
They're now discovering that the different strains of the plant and that these bland statements about it curing cancer cannot be sustained unless there's research. When you take a drug, it's a consequence of years of research in the laboratory and testing.
Yes, that's true.
You test on animals sometimes before the thing is given legality.
Yes.
You don't want a situation where a drug is used and it has side effects that neither the doctor nor the patient is aware of. We have seen in the modern world the damage done by alcohol and tobacco.
Yes.
Families have been destroyed.
That's right.
Men have. I grew up in a family where you have a man who was absolutely decent, perfect.
Okay.
Once he took alcohol,
Yes.
his whole personality changes. So one has to examine it the psychiatrists are looking at the question.
Yes.
And this is not a matter to just capriciously say, look, grow marijuana.
Okay.
In some states, they were trying to stop the use of tobacco at one time. They no longer use it on planes.
Okay.
People have tried to stop young people using alcohol.
Okay.
I've met a man who said he couldn't write. He was a journalist.
Yes.
Unless he was drinking.
Okay. And trembling.
He must have a few
Yes.
liquor, you know.
No artists.
So
and
it's a very involved matter.
Caller in the yellow.
Yes, I
Yeah.
want to clear up
Yes.
one particular issue that
Yes.
we're talking about.
Yes.
This $20 million
Yes.
that's a signing bonus
Yes.
has nothing to do with the personal aspects of what the government wants to do.
Okay.
$20 million is a signing bonus. It is an incentive process by which one party gives another party an incentive to engage in business with them. It is
That's a
nothing
20
illegal.
million US?
Yeah.
20 million US.
Yeah.
Are you talking about?
There is nothing illegal about
yeah.
that.
Put it
That
in
is
the
a
Bank of
due
Guyana.
process of international business. So why people are talking about this $20 million as though somebody is taking it away?
Okay.
It's in the government's bank.
Yes.
So I mean, when you are going to make criticisms, you must inform yourself as to the whereabouts and the wheretofores of what you're speaking about.
Yes.
And I think that we should make an effort to explain to people
That's the purpose
of the
that's the
problem.
purpose on the program.
That
That's the purpose on the program.
situation.
Yes.
Because they're talking about this as though it's something criminal. It's not criminal.
Okay.
It's done with every big business transaction in the world. With oil, you're going to see the same thing. Sugar had the same thing because people usually need some type of incentive or means by which they could say, I can feel more secure in this transaction.
Okay.
So I'd like to, some one of you gentlemen, when people start talking about this 20 million, explain to them it's a due process of business.
Yes.
So why did they hide and lie about it? Why did they deny it?
The only person
The
I
hiding of which we're speaking of,
we should bring Jaipal here.
a
who's
large
in Ministry of
extent,
Finance, to
is
explain
based
it.
on what people believe they need to do to protect their political interests.
Yes.
Because we have Mr. Jagjo getting on the phone and all these people. The minute somebody says something out of sorts,
Yes, that's true.
people talk about stuff they don't know, and that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up.
But the media
Educate yourself before you make the criticism. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the media has been centralized.
Caller, you're near, hello?
The whole issue.
Yes.
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 Now, we've got three questions.
Yes.
First one, when they expose that the government gets 50%.
Yes. Caller in the yellow?
Hello, good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon, yes.
I think the caller
Yes.
before the previous one
Yes.
made a very good point.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not about the
Yes.
20 million and taking it, but it's the principle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is the deception. If you take it, you take it.
With the principle of
Just
transparency.
let the public know. Don't hide from the public.
Yeah.
That's the point, I think, which is very embarrassing.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, taking 20 million might not be a very bad thing, whether it's 20 or 18.
Yes.
But saying all the time that it's not true, and then coming out now to admit that it's true. I mean, it makes the government look very, very bad. and we have to see it as a deception and not the 20 million which was taken.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mr. Green, waiting for the 20 million now.
I-
How you explain that?
I never speak on a matter which eludes my knowledge and of which I have not examined. And I suggested a moment ago, you bring somebody like Jaipal here. Jaipal is the Minister of Finance.
Yes.
He's an intelligent young man. He's part of the government. Let him explain. I wouldn't attempt an explanation. I'm not prepared to respond to those very careless statements made by people.
And the media,
we live in a country where people are fond of making statements for which there is no basis.
They are not responsible for it.
The media.
And the beauty of this program, and again, is that you've opened the line.
That's right.
So a story has
more than one side.
Three sides.
Yeah, three sides.
Normally, a story has two sides. But Guyana is a strange place.
Yes.
It has three sides.
Yes.
We want to hear all three sides.
But the media has been sensationalizing this whole thing.
Caller, you're near.
Good evening, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Green said something which is very true about the hemp or the marijuana with change of personality.
Yes.
I had a son, he's dead now, who personality changed tremendously.
Okay.
He was very handsome man.
Using what?
And he became, as you say, ugly. I have another son who is using it, and I'm seeing personality change.
What is he using?
What Mr. Green said about that is very true.
No,
okay.
what drug was he using?
He was using this, I don't know.
You're not sure?
Well,
he was using a black joint.
I think he put in the cigarette leaf and roll it. And
I do understand. what
he was using cocaine with it, or crack.
Changes
Okay, thank you very much.
I also went on the Google and I saw an article. It changes your personality indeed. And it's not much of thing because my son was taking it. He's trying out for pain here and pain here, and
but the hemp is different. Hemp is for industrial use. It's not for.
Pardon?
Hemp is for industrial use, not for personal.
You ever use hemp?
No, it's not for prolonged use at all.
Okay.
Not for prolonged use.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Caller, you're near. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Green, you already know what you know. You have served this country, and you have a part of knowing much about the government and how it runs. You also run the Mayor City Council, and you retired as a mayor from the past, as a past mayor. Mr. Sankey, you've taught in UG, and you know more than what you are listening. They have many different stuff. However, I want to know for the public who don't have nothing to do, and I don't know, Mr. Sharma already said that half of this country is illiterate, and the other rest got C-beckles. But I just want to make sure that I get myself clear. Where was the human rights people department when Varshni Singh, who was Varshni Jagir, was living inside the White House that now turned green? Where was them?
Yes.
Where was the trust place when that same White House now turning green, rotting in? Where was them? And the new people who talking about the $20 million with the people them collect, and they ain't know nothing about yet what they got papers for, because they already said they got papers. What part all the money when they sell there, and what Ashley Singh gone with? Yes. Where is that? Where is that? Where the international people, what happened to them then? They're dead, or they now come back alive?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, Kaito News has to be very careful what they're doing.
They've
been sued by GBTI.
Call in here.
Gentlemen.
Yes.
Pleasant good to you.
Been here for a long time.
Season greetings. Yeah, I ain't get here for see nothing now. Just give a call.
Yes.
Anyhow, I overheard you speaking about this marijuana, and Mr. Green even mentioned something about this marijuana business and this hemp. Now, let's be realistic. Is it we live in a society that the medical institution decide to keep we under these kind of chemical and kill we out slowly? Or they're going to allow us to to save ourselves and save our young people.
Okay.
Now let me go back to a statistic for 10 years ago. How many people you know die under the influence of marijuana getting high? And how many die under the influence of alcohol and tobacco? Bad heart, bad kidney, tobacco. The pack mark smoking kill. But still, by the government gain the revenue from that and the alcohol, they won't put a ban on it. They rather people die. And when you die out, the match will make the money, the people who go for exam, you make the money. And all what they tell you, smoke a lot and you drink too much. Why you don't, I'm not craving for that day for legalize marijuana, right? But what I'm saying, we got things to build our country, and we got people making a fool out of us. It's just like we did in the days of slavery, when master and Missy used to control us and tell us what to do. This is my country. That is why I miss Mr. Trump. But tell you for coming and tell you how to run the country.
Okay.
Why? Because if you you know him to give you so much revenue, and you could go and turn this thing into book and people, therefore you
of Gaisuku then in 2015 that if they don't have bailout immediately, that the entire industry will collapse. Now, we going in there as a government, we thought everything was fine and dandy, because I said to you in this program that the president then and the presidential candidate of the PUPC in the 2015 election, Donald Ramatar, said to this nation in his campaign that his administration, if re-elected, will put what? 20 billion for the entire year. We give Gaisuku 2 billion in less than 2 years. So even then, this president then, Ramatar, who was a sitting member of Gaisuku board for many years, over almost 2 decades, he didn't know the crisis of Gaisuku when he was president, saying I'm going to give 20 billion in a year. He didn't know. So how you expect we will know? So they were lying to this nation all the time, knowing it was a timing bomb. It would have exploded any time. And so that is exactly what happened. Exploded, and we had a deal with situation. So when we came in, Gaisuku was already dying. Mm-hmm. We put it in intensive care, and the pulse was weak, and we gave them 2 billion. That 2 billion was to keep them alive. I'm going to tell you this again. The 9 billion we gave them this year, it was completely exhausted. You know when? In November. It was to be fully utilized in May. Gaisuku said this 9 billion would be utilized in May. What Gaisuku did to keep this money to last until November, you know what they did? This is what they did, because it's 9 billion they have. And they projected that it will last in May. But they didn't do magic, it lasts until November. And what they did is because of that decision that was taken in May, which say that 3 estates will have to be offline. So it was general knowledge to this nation, because it was said in the National Assembly, in the state paper, that only 3 estates will be in operation. So Gaisuku decided what we're going to do. We're not going to be doing any replanting at Rosal at Enmore. And so the save in those regards, in terms of replanting efforts, in terms of cultivation, in terms of drainage irrigation, those savings stretch the money out. Presently as I speak, Gaisuku doesn't have money to pay you next week. So why you complaining that government must keep the workers at Rosal, keep the workers at Enmore? We keep them and we don't pay none of you because they don't have no money. Okay. So presently, because the budget was in preparation, Gaisuku now have to go to the commercial bank to see if they could get a loan. Yeah. So we're in the process to ensure to see if Gaisuku could have a loan from a commercial bank to carry them out for this year. Yeah. So don't play politics, and that is what the opposition is doing, is playing politics. Why use this issue with the sugar worker and their crisis to push your political motives and your ambition? That if you get the people work up, they could cause them to react in a violent manner. Yeah. And so what they're doing is setting a stage for something that we don't want to see in this country. This country is a beautiful country. It's a peaceful country. I'm saying to you, as I said, I'm integral. I am part of the unit, the special purpose unit, in terms of having oversight, that we at Ministry of Finance, I being part of it, will have an answer in terms, as you saw, that the SPU had shortlisted and will be contracting PricewaterhouseCoopers to do evaluations of the property of Gaisuku that will be divested. So there is a process that we're going to be engaged in. There's a process where we will have alternative for the redundant workers. There's a process where we will identify lands. There's a process where possibility that because the SPU will be responsible for those estates, will have to be responsible for the workers. But the SPU and the NISIL and the Ministry of Finance will have to know what is the cost to operate Enmore, what is the cost to operate Rosal, and things of that nature. So they're going to know what they getting themselves into. So there's 6.3 billion in the budget for Gaisuku. Out of that, Gaisuku is already borrowing money to execute their activities for the remaining of December. That will reduce the 6 billion that they're getting. Out of that, they will have to pay severance. That will reduce the money that they plan to continue the activities for 2018. However, the hope there is Gaisuku have a number of lands available in excess of maybe 4 million acres of land that will be sold. And you would have known that I recommend the cabinet that Central Housing and Planning Authority purchase some of that land, which they had given Gaisuku 2 billion. So part of that thing I'm explaining to you, the 9 billion, how it was stretched. That 9 billion was not actually 9 billion, it was 9 plus 2. It was 11 billion Gaisuku got. 9 billion from central government and 2 billion from Central Housing and Planning Authority.
Yes, Jai Paul. People are saying, well, you're downsizing the sugar industry, so you have 3 estates left. What about the management people too? Shouldn't they be laid off? The top management people, some of them, the salaries, it's no longer a big corporation, it's a small 3 estates being run. You need to have that, maybe just a board, or need to these. Why? We don't need to be paying the top management all that money. We not have all those people paying.
Those are matters.
When workers are cut, they're cut across the board. So if you're going to take Rosal off, you wouldn't keep Rosal management. Rosal management have to go.
No,
if you're going to take Edmore management have to go. Good. But the board still remain.
No, but the top guys.
So if you're going to say, they have to have
the
a
top
CEO.
guys are getting all that big money for a big corporation. Now they're a small body.
You got to have a CEO, still have to have a management of the company.
But
the estate management and the management of the company is two different.
So
if they close the estate, you remove the management.
Yeah.
However, there is opportunity. Now, Gaisuku used to provide services to this nation. Like, they used to provide community service, community ground, health centers for the workers and community benefit. They used to provide drainage irrigation. Now, these facilities will now go to central government. And central government should have made that decision very early o'clock.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. But that is water on the bridge. So in 2018, a decision will have to be taken that Ministry of Agriculture, National Drainage Irrigation will take over the responsibility for the drainage irrigation in those areas that Gaisuku will no longer be operating in.
Yeah,
now in the areas Gaisuku will still be operating in, central government will have to give them a subvention because it will now have to cost the work.
The scope of duties of the CEO.
So what I'm saying is that previously, the previous government used to contract out people to do those drainage irrigation work. They used to give it to the party people. Okay? So now you could take Gaisuku redundant work and give them those jobs to continue the drainage irrigation work. Something you don't know, and I was explaining. In the building of Skeldon, which cost 185 million, and then they spend 15 million to repair a new factory, which now cost figures 200 million, 40 billion dollars. What you don't know, they borrow 125 million US dollars, and it took the additional money from Gaisuku reserves, destroying Gaisuku. That was the poor management decision of your so loving PAPC government. So what the part you don't know there is that, and more that I need to say to you. So before I know CN want to ask other questions, other callers want to ask questions. I gave you some information there. You asked me more questions, so I got to speak.
Caller in the air, hello? Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
With all due respect to the Minister of Finance,
Yes.
right? Super earlier this week made a statement that they have acquired a loan from a bank, right? And that loan would help them to finance them for the remainder of the year, plus pay those severance workers by the 31st of December. That was in the media. And next thing now, coming back to...
So, no, take a pen. What you're saying, what I don't know, and I just explained that to you. I'm saying to you, this was what was in discussion weeks ago. What is in the papers, what is manifesting because of those discussions?
Oh, well, I thought you said they were negotiating with some bank presently.
Well, I'm going to tell you they didn't get the money yet. You probably don't know that.
The statement from Guyana said that they acquired a loan and it will be able to pay the workers severance and also run them for the remainder of the year.
And I'm saying if they had this money in the hand, I wouldn't know about it, right?
Okay, well, coming back out to Mr. Armand, when he said he wasn't aware that severance letter was sent over. So you see the decision between the Agriculture Ministry, Gaisuko, and the government? Because how come Cabinet wasn't aware? All year Cabinet was aware of Gaisuko problems and all the issue when that was. Suddenly, Cabinet is not aware that the workers receive severance letters. Something is wrong there.
Yeah, it will appear.
The Agriculture Minister said it wasn't a surprise to him because he knew about it. So how come Mr. Ahmad saying he doesn't know about it? Something is wrong between the government, and that has to be sorted out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And to the average person, you're going to say something is wrong, and that is true.
Exactly.
Listen, let me explain. I have to explain to you. All right, go ahead.
Just the last point. Gaisuko, when in the previous government, the opposition was saying we throwing money down a black hole. Right? Millions of dollars going on black hole. Now we change government and we got the same money going down the same black hole. I don't really know what's going on. Thank you.
Good. So, yes, as I said, I agree with you 100%. To the ordinary man and woman, something seems to be seriously wrong because there's this disconnect between Gaisuku. Gaisuku is a company. Company is governed by company law. They have a board. They're independent. And so, Cabinet position may be this. But if Cabinet doesn't say through this subject minister, go tell your board this, your board will not do it. And so maybe that is the breakdown in the communication, which you're saying you find it strange, and I agree with you. I don't know, and I can't say if that is what happened. So Cabinet will say a number of things like, okay, we're going to extend this, the termination of the workers. But was this given to the Minister of Agriculture, who would say to the Gaisuku that, you know what, we're going to keep Rosa. If government decide to say we're going to keep the workers, then government have to say, I'm going to give you the money to keep the workers. Where Gaisuku going to find the money to keep the workers? What you don't know, every single thing Gaisuku have, every single property that Gaisuku have, is they took a loan on it already. Okay. There's a loan and a loan. I told you about the Skeldon and the 200 million plant and the poor decision because Gaisuku had to take their reserve to put in there. What I didn't tell you is that the PPP had a reason why to build the Skeldon. I discovered that when they constructed the Skeldon modernization factory, they had to get more lands available, more cane farmers, more cane to produce because of a very huge plant. And you know what they did? They entered a tripartite agreement, meaning they entered an agreement with Gaisuku, private cane farmers, and commercial banks. Guess what happened? So these private cane farmers went to the bank and they took a huge loan. The loan was to increase the cultivation or get involved in cultivation of sugarcane. there was to sell this cane to Gaisuku, and if the cane farmer failed to pay their loan, guess what? Gaisuku would have to come in and pay it. Wow. Well, guess what?
Cane farmers didn't pay.
Well, the SHIT hit the fan. And so, Gaisuku, Skeldon is closing. The cane farmers owe the bank, and they now run into Gaisuku to pay the debt. Guess what? These cane farmers are all supporters of the PPP.
They get paid off.
So one of the reasons I'm seeing why they put it in Skeldon is that they could fund the families and friends in Skeldon, the farmers, or associated with the party, and most likely these people did not use that money to borrow from the bank to do the business of cultivation of cane. So I will have to do a forensic audit on that to see indeed if they got involved in putting the money where and utilize it for the purpose it was intended. Because the Gaisuku doesn't have money right now to pay you, the workers. Now they have to get money to pay the bank, the private cane farmer, borrow from a bank and probably use the money to do other businesses. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think you understand the picture. But that is the kind of challenges I face as a minister dealing with Gaisuku issues. Now, we will have to deal with it.
Mr. Green, experienced man talk. What Mr. Green would like to see?
Well, as I said earlier, the sugar industry has a long and troubled history.
Yeah.
Jaipal has put in perspective. I don't think there's much more to do. We have to wait to see how the workers will respond with their unions. An offer will be made to them. I gave an experience of manganese. Some people mentally don't want to shift from eating mangoes to eating bananas. And we have to see what happens. What influence will be brought to bear on the workers as a community, I don't know. I suspect from what I've heard, I'm experienced going through the estates years ago, a lot of them are anxious to move on to other private things. Because remember that over the past few years, the cadre of cane cutters dwindled. Remember at one time they used to go to Trinidad and other places. A lot of that has changed. So you don't have a large group of cane cutters that will be discommoded, if you put it that way. And I don't have the figures, Jaipal may have it, or the Ministry of Agriculture. But I suspect that the matter will be resolved in another few months.
Yes.
Some workers may say, look, give me my pension, my gratuity, and bye-bye. Have a severance. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do something else.
Look, these things happen throughout countries. People have to change. I said you didn't born a baby, remain a baby. You change. And as you change, your life change, and your way of life and your activity change. And so we have a plan. And the plan is that we're going to find a solution to dealing with those 3 estates will no longer be in production. We will find a plan how to deal with the redundant worker. We will have to obviously pay our severance. But my question to the opposition is why they never come clean to the nation. And because Gaisuku was always a political football for the PPP, not no other political party. Only they had interest in Gaisuku. Okay, and the workers. So they never come clean and say this is the situation. Look, the history, at one point in time, this great party of yours, BPC, wanted to de-recognize Gao because Gao decided out of the blues to take a stand. And Jagli had to come and save you and say, hey, I mustn't do that because he realized what they're getting involved in. Whenever the workers of Gaisuku would cry for an increase or API, you know what they would do? The most damning thing they would do. I would not, if I was president or in charge then, I would not have allowed the people to strike and then knowing that you have to keep them satisfied because they're your voter. After 2-3 weeks of striking, you went and paid them the money anyway. But you lost number of man hours, you lost cane, you lost market. What is the sense in it? What is the sense in it? So we are taking tough decisions. Tough decisions are not easy. That's why it's a tough decision. We are taking honest decisions. Honest decisions are not easy because they're tough. It is easy to tell a lie. And that was what the PVPC was doing to Gaisuku, telling them lies after lies. until May of 2015, the truth had to come to light. Things don't remain in the dark for too long. And so you now know what is position of Gaisuku. My question to the opposition, why when they were in government, why they didn't take and borrow the 125 million instead to put it in the scales, and why they didn't repair Wales? Why they didn't repair Enmore? Why didn't repair Rose Hall, Blairmont, and those other factories? Why build a completely new factory? And that, I believe, why they did that, and I explained because they wanted to increase the cultivation and give the party supporters a way of having this tripartite agreement so they could go to the bank and take loans. Guess what? These farmers that was created to supply cane to Skeldon, guess what? Where do you think they get the fertilizer from? They get the fertilizer from Gaisuku. They owe Gaisuku instead of, in addition to owing the bank for the loan, they owe Gaisuku fertilizer. So Gaisuku is in a big debt. Now Gaisuku have a debt now. Now these farmers owe them for fertilizer. We're speaking about the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Jaifal is right.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, to the afternoon, the Union panel and the Honorable Junior Minister of Finance, Jaifal Sharma.
Yes.
I'm not a Gaisuku worker, neither or in my parents, but I am so pleased with the explanation that you have given about Gaisuku, because there is a number of perspectives out there that people got wrong opinion about it, that the government is closing down these estates and putting people out of jobs. And I can't say how happy I am with the explanation that you just given. So I do hope most of the sugar workers or cane cutters are listening and they could understand what you're saying. And if I should make a suggestion, I think you should probably go in the Gaisuku Roundup forum sometime, or get to these sugar workers in the where these estates are closing and explain some of these things to them so that they would know that the previous government was lying to them and what they were doing. Secondly,
we're going to do that soon.
Secondly, is that I would like to ask, why is it that this $20 million that was given by ExxonMobil, why a part of it could not have been given to the public servant at the end of the year, and why is it that the government was, one point of time they were saying they did not get any money, and now you're hearing that yes, they have gotten the money. I love the fact that when Carlos told us and he was explaining about the misconnection or disconnection between the government and Gaisuku, you agreed, and there's a part of honesty and thing within the government, and I feel that every minister should come on this program or some program, and if you can accept that when something is wrong, say yes, that it is wrong, and do not lie to the people like the previous government was doing, because sometimes the people are going to realize that, look, this government is lying to us, and they cannot be trusted. Okay, so I'm happy.
Well said.
What you're doing here now. I would like to know why was the public service wasn't given anything from this $20 million, which is $4 billion Guyana. I think public service should be given something at the end of the year, because public servants play a very big part in this country, in the development and the maintenance of this country. And the government should do more for the public servant.
Thank you very much.
I think the point made is important. Judge Paul's explanation is lucid and clear. The government has been not strong on PR. That's a fact. And I believe that through Jaipal or sub agency, NCN, this station, which is popular, and others should be used to explain in very simple terms what the situation is, because the PP has ramped up their propaganda.
Yes.
And
very strong.
Oh yes, they're good at that.
Very
I remember Jack Joe at a dinner at the Pegasus Hotel, lauded the virtues of Skeldon Estate and that it will be the flagship, not only for sugar in Guyana, but the Caribbean, of long, good-sounding speech.
Yes.
But what has happened? Collapse.
Pirate ship.
It was a fraudulent presentation.
Pirate ship.
And we have money being pulled down the drain.
Pirates in the Caribbean.
We sugar workers should be reminded of Jack Joe's statement.
But he promised to do something about it.
Who?
Jagdio did promise that he would mend the
Your
problem.
closing remarks. Quick.
Hmm?
Closing remarks.
My closing remarks are that right now, Guyanese overall should be commended for their fortitude and for holding the line, so to speak, because we're now entering the season to be merry and of giving, and we're not seeing civil war out there or too much turbulence. Even though people have their concerns, it shows that we are still mature and we still have love in our hearts. At the same time, I want to let people know that unite. Unity is still the word. My newspaper, Unite, is out on the front line. That's what I've been doing while I've been away from Voice of the People. Pick up a copy. It says here, Guyana 19 million collected for the CDC Hurricane Relief Concert. Appreciation. And what we can do as Guyanese, we can help each other more, both nationally, regionally, and internationally, because we are a global village now.
How much you got paid with the advertisement?
For an advertisement here?
This paper here right
For this
now.
paper, well, the paper is sold for $100.
No.
For the advertisement here?
CN is saying you gotta
Oh,
send
I
the
don't have to
bill.
pay it
Send
because
the
I should ask CN, what is he paying me for being here on this program? It's a contra deal. Hand wash, hand make, hand come clean. All right? One love. Yeah.
Yes, and I think I'm glad that Jaipal was here to give an explanation of especially concerning the sugar industry and somewhat too with the Exxon signing bonus. But again, Mr. Trotman did explain, and Starbucks News had it, why there had to be some secrecy, some degree of secrecy with that, in the national interest. And I think Kaito News is getting a bit overboard with sensational news. They have to be
They
careful.
sell papers that way.
They were threatened with a legal action by GBTI recently.
They apologized
Yeah,
quickly.
but then this apology wouldn't be accepted if they continue in this vein. Now, besides that, too, as I mentioned too, with the sugar estates, definitely the top brass have to take a cut in salary, or we had a new top brass. They can't be with 3 estates, with this big, paying that fabulous amount of money to the chief executive officer and Mr. Bim and the rest. It's ridiculous. When it was 7, 8, 10 estates, it's a different story. 3 estates, and you're paying that. They have to take a cut, or we replace them with somebody else. We have to take drastic action, not only with the workers at the bottom, but those at the top as well.
Minister, your closing remarks.
No, I support Mrs. Sankey views, and there will be a restructuring after Gaisuku commence operation of the new structure.
Yes.
So when they have the structure where they'll be controlling only 3 estates, of course they have to evaluate themselves and restructure the organization and even the emoluments package for various offices. So maybe those persons presently in the executive of Gaisuku will no longer be there. The board will may be different, and so yes, the whole entire thing will be restructured.
Yeah.
And so we have to be prudent in which we manage the 3 estates. We can't make the 3 a failure. The 3 is where we say, and we kept we kept in our promise where we say we're going to keep in sugar's alive with the 3 estate. We plan to produce a maximum of 150 tons of sugar. Our focus is with the CARICOM market. The Treaty of Chagarams, the revised Treaty of Chagarams, will give us protection. We plan to go into plantation white sugar because CARICOM only use refined sugar, and plantation white was considered recently by quoted as refined sugar. It's not exactly refined, but they consider the means they will have to purchase from us, and we have other markets. The reason probably would be seeing that machineries are now set aside and so, because the reality is that the SPU, the Special Purpose Unit that His Excellency vision to set up for disposal of the 3 remaining assets that will no longer be in the production of sugar come January 2018, the SPU position is that these estates could be involved in sugar or some form of diversification of sugar itself. And so the plan is to mothball these estates and the factory. So we're not going to scrap them, we're not going to cannibalize them because there will be no use and they have no resale value. So we don't want to sell land, we want to sell a going concern. And so this is some of the things we're exploring. There's lands available, redundant workers who will be given severance pay and can't find employment, they will be retrained and retooled and given lands and probably given a a form of a proposal, business proposal, which they could run with, which is viable. This is all things that the SPU, which I'm part of, is considering as we speak. The only difficulty is that when we had planned to commence the SPU in July of 2017, it didn't materialize until August, September. And as a result, it set us back 2-3 months. And that is what is going to be pushed now into 2018. So we're looking the worst case scenario to get this thing up and running in terms of our proposal for the redundant workers, maybe around March, the earliest, that we could get something that we could say definitely this is what the package will be for the workers. So in the interim, there will be some consideration for those workers that is in those particular estates.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Mayor?
I'd just like to wish all a happy Christmas, wish you and your family all the best, and to hope that we can ramp up our PR and that we do something to let people know the whole story. And finally, that we don't smoke, drink, and eat too much so that next year we'll be all physically and mentally fit to support Granger and the coalition to make Guyana good, green,